So can you please introduce yourself?
My name is Harry Fandry.
And,
Bob Nicoli.
all right.
Bob.
So today I'm just gonna ask you a few questions regarding before the war, after the war, and then your reflections on it.
Right.
So your name's Harry, correct?
Right?
Harry?
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah, which war are we talking about?
Well, he's from World War II, so I'm just gonna go to him first, and then I'll ask you.
Okay.
Yeah, I was in during the Korean War.
Yeah. Okay, so for you, Harry, so what was your life like before you were in the war?
Well, think about it is, when I was in school, I wanted to quit school in '43 and go to service. But folks said, finish school first. So in '44, I finished school, went out, and I got called for the Army then. So I got called for the Army, and I went to Fort Riley, Kansas for training, 17 weeks training. After come back, then I had a furlough for 2 weeks, going back to Fort Knox for tank training. We trained the tanks and big vehicles. And after we took off to Hawaii for advanced tank training with flamethrowers in our tanks.
Wow.
So then we had LSTs, we had a big convoy, took over to Japan, ready to attack them with our tanks. We got 500 miles from shore, and Harry Truman saved my life, took the A-bomb ahead of us.
Yeah.
Thank goodness. And the thing about it is, I went to Japan for 11 months for training, for teaching of things, and no trouble at all. People there were civilized.
Yeah. Wait, so how many months were you there?
11 months in Japan.
11?
Right.
Oh wow. So were you drafted or were you in this?
I got drafted after a while.
Oh, you were drafted.
I got out of high school,
Mm-hmm.
I was 18 years old, and I got drafted right away.
Yeah. So was it always your dream to join the army?
I wasn't gonna join Marine Corps, but the folks says, they wouldn't let me, quit school.
Yeah.
So I got drafted into the Army then.
So do you remember any of your instructors who taught you while you were in boot camp?
Not offhand. I did drive a Jeep there. I drove a Colonel around for a while. And Colonel Hale, I drove him around for a while to show him different things. So
All right. So for you, Bob, what was life like for you before the Korean War started?
Well, I graduated from high school in 1944, and they didn't draft me then because I was working in an auto mechanic. It's considered essential industry, keep the old cars running.
okay.
So then I had re-registered in 1948, and then they called me up, and then I was 1A, and they said, we'll call you up. Took it from November 1948 until November 1952 before they called me.
Wow.
For 4 years I sat there wondering when they're gonna call me.
All right.
You know how that goes.
Yeah. So you were talking about a little bit of your experiences. Where were you when the bombing of Pearl Harbor happened?
I was still home yet for Harbor. I was still a young kid yet. I was still living in Brookfield then.
And do you remember any of your thoughts when you heard about it?
I heard a lot about it, right?
Yeah.
That's why I wanted to quit school and go to Marine Corps, but the folks said, finish school first.
Yeah. So when war began for you, what unit were you a part of?
767 Tank Battalion.
Yeah. What was that unit responsible for?
Well, all tanks we had. We had tanks, trucks, and vehicles. So then we took off for invasion with an LSD convoy, ready for a big invasion, but thank goodness the bomb kept getting first.
Yeah. Yeah. So, what was your rank?
A corporal, T5.
So, could you kind of explain? Because I'm not entirely sure how the military ranks are.
Yeah.
So, could you kind of explain that to me?
Well, there's a private first class, corporal, sergeant, sergeant second and third sergeant, and all the way up then.
All right. So for you, what were your thoughts on when you started to train for the Korean War? Like what was it like through boot camp and all of that?
Well, I've been out of school for 8 years. I was 26 years old, and they had me go to, or they sent me to San Luis Obispo, California, for basic training. That's a signal corps camp. So there I learned how. I was trained to be a cryptographic specialist.
Oh, so you decoded messages?
Encoding and decoding messages. We had teletype machines that we typed it. They have the messages would be in 5-letter codes, or 5-letter groups, and encode. You type what was on the paper, and when you type it into the machine, and the machine will print it out in English.
Oh wow, that's cool. Did you like doing that?
Well, it's all right. Better than a lot of other things. It's better as having to go out there and shoot somebody.
So what were some of the messages you coded and decoded?
Oh, classified material.
Right.
Yeah.
Really, it was. We were not supposed to talk about it or mention anything about what we were encoding or decoding.
Yeah.
And so I just promptly forgot.
Right.
Forgot it all. I can't tell you anything. It was some of it about truth movements and daily reports that how many men were in a certain battalion or company or but I can't mention that even now because I forgot it.
Right.
They told us to forget everything.
65 years ago. It's a long time ago.
Yeah. How many people did you work with?
What?
How many people did you work with?
I think the cryptographic section was about, we had 3 shifts. Where it was a 24-hour operation. So we'd be day shifts. It'd usually be about 3 or 4 on each shift.
Oh, okay, that's interesting. So back to you, Harry. What were the happiest moments or the most exciting or most memorable moments for you during the war?
Well, the war was over. I was very happy about that.
Yeah.
I would
Let me out of here.
Right.
Yeah.
And then we went to Japan there, and no trouble always had. But first one hit Japan for 11 months. People there were very civilized.
Yeah.
So, of course, my job sometimes, the corporal guards, I had to watch the tanks and whatnot. We had a big field of tanks. So, and every week or so, I had to be on duty for the corporal guards for guard duty. So,
Did you make any friends during the war?
Yeah, I can't remember no more. I'll tell you, the more sweat to come, sweat my head off right now.
Yeah. So you were talking about Hiroshima
Right,
and the dropping of the atomic bomb.
right.
So how did you hear about it?
We're coming in for invasion.
Mm-hmm.
We're 500 miles away from the shore, ready for a big attack. With all our tanks and LST convoy. And the bomb was exploded there. And then we landed in Japan then, and we drove to Wakayama.
Mm-hmm. All right. So, what was your first reaction when you heard about that?
Very happy.
Yeah. So, what did you do on your last day of service?
I can't remember no more.
You can't really remember.
70 years ago,
Yeah.
1946 that was the last day.
Mm.
So right now it's 2016, so 70 years it is.
Mm-hmm. Were you able to communicate with your family during?
Oh yeah, oh yeah. I got letters all the time, and my folks sent me cigarettes all the time. I didn't smoke.
Uh-huh.
I sold them to Japanese.
Oh wow.
I made money. I made enough money to buy a new car right back home.
Oh wow.
So,
Not much.
I mean, cigarettes were like, I don't know, really cheap. The Japanese paid $10 a carton for $10 a pack for it.
Oh wow.
$10 a pack they paid.
Mm-hmm.
So I made some big money then.
Did you make any friends with the Japanese people?
Not offhand.
Not.
I can't remember no more.
All right. So back to you. Were you able to communicate with your family during the war?
Yeah, I wrote letters back, we wrote back and forth.
Yeah.
Everything was censored,
Oh,
Mhm.
you know. The censors made sure we weren't telling anything that shouldn't be told.
Mhm.
So I didn't read any of that, I just skipped all that. I said, I'm fine. Sun shone today, it rained yesterday, you know.
right.
Yeah.
All I want to know is whether I was still alive.
So, this is a question for you. What was the food like during the war? Like,
We had good food in Korea. It was, all American type foods, you know.
Right.
Mess hall.
That's all.
yeah.
Some food was very, very good. Some was no bargain.
Yeah, we like some things, sometimes things we
Right,
didn't
right.
like.
Yeah. What were the living conditions like?
Living pretty good.
Mm-hmm.
When we first landed over there, we found old school barracks, and we stayed in a barracks then. Some school was emptied, so then we took the school over. And I stayed right in the barracks there then.
Mm-hmm.
And we had 2 guys to a room. We got bunk beds, so for 11 months I spent over there then.
How about for you?
Well, in Korea, we lived in tents, 8 men to a tent,
Mm-hmm.
and it was all right. You could put up with it.
Right, right.
We had, naturally, like all soldiers, they complained like everything. We all did. Complained about the food, we complained about our bed, we could complain about having to get up at
Right.
5:30 in the morning.
Oh, wow.
But I never had to, they signed the truce in Korea
Mm-hmm.
just before I got there.
Oh wow.
So the first 2 months I was carrying my M1 rifle with me
Mm-hmm.
everywhere I went out of the
Right, right.
company area. Then after that, they said they said you don't have to do that anymore. So I had it sitting by my bunk, and
Yeah.
I never had to fire it,
Oh.
except for tiger practice.
Right.
Mhm. Did you guys did you guys pull any pranks or any jokes on?
Not offhand.
No, what?
Some jokes now on
Jokes?
pranks.
Huh?
For pranks or jokes.
Did you?
Pranks, I never people.
Oh, pranks?
Yeah.
I don't remember.
Right.
That's 50 years ago, 60 years ago.
Right.
Yeah. So did you see any combat during the war?
No, I didn't.
You didn't?
The thing about it is, we were going in for invasion,
Mm-hmm.
and before I got there, Harry Truman saved my life
Yeah.
with the A-bomb.
Yeah.
Yes.
Were you nervous?
Before then,
going in?
yes.
Yeah.
I mean, when I LST there, I was seasick most of the time.
Mm-hmm.
I stayed below deck. Because then the A-bomb happened, so then I felt better then.
Yeah. Let's see. What would you say was your biggest accomplishment during the war?
I don't know.
Is there anything you were proud of?
Just followed a rule, that's all.
Mm-hmm. What about for you?
I was in the Army Signal Corps,
Mm-hmm.
and I was a cryptographic specialist. And so I got promoted because of my age. I was a little older than most of the other guys. And because of my age, they promoted me quicker than some of the others. So
Okay.
I got to be a sergeant.
Mm-hmm.
Well, at least before the other guys were.
Right, right.
But it's just like sort of like a regular job. You went to work in the morning, you came back in the afternoon, or I was in a signal corps. We had the communications center was open, was operating 24 hours a day.
Mm-hmm.
So you'd be on days, one time then you'd be on evenings from 4 to midnight. That for a while, then you'd be in a midnight shift,
Okay.
and so, it was a job we had to do.
Yeah.
We had no question about whether you liked it or not.
Right, right.
You just did it.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. So you said you were 26 when you were sent to Korea, correct? Yeah. Did you have any relationships or like a marriage at the time?
No,
No.
no, I didn't even have a girlfriend.
Oh,
Did you have like a girlfriend or
no, I then,
no?
after back home,
Mhm.
I was back home after 5 years that I got married then,
Oh wow.
so.
Actually, I didn't. I knew this girl up in Canada that her parents had a tourist camp there,
Mm-hmm.
and we used to go up there fishing. I knew her, so when I was home on leave, getting ready to go overseas, I asked her if she'd write to me.
Mm-hmm.
So that was our courtship
Oh.
through the mail.
Okay.
Yeah. So, what was it like when you guys returned from the war?
Not much change at all then. I mean, there's nothing at all, no celebrations, no nothing.
Oh really?
The only celebration we had when I went on a flight, on a flight,
Mm-hmm.
then that was the best thing in the world. I mean, all people said thank you for your service.
Mm-hmm.
But before then, nobody said a darn thing.
Oh, wow. What about for you?
Good question again?
When the war ended, what was it like returning home? Did you get like welcome, like thing?
Coming home?
Yeah, after the war ended and you went back home, what was it like?
Well, they were glad to see me back, and then in one piece.
Right, right.
And actually, I think the people back here thought we were all being shooting at somebody or somebody shooting at us the whole time, and nobody ever shot at me. I never shot at anybody either.
Yeah. Are you glad that you didn't have to?
Right.
Oh yeah, I didn't want to kill another person.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Point on a rifle at him, that's enough.
Let's see. If you can change like any experience of the war, what would you have changed, if any?
Nothing offhand.
Mm-hmm.
What was that again?
I'll tell you, I gotta get going here, I'm sweating my head off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. If you could change any experience during the war, what would you change? Like, with your experience during the war, is there anything that you would like to change? Like maybe get into a different unit?
Oh, we didn't have a choice,
Mm-hmm.
did we? We did what we were told to do, and that was it. You like it or not,
Yeah.
do it. Right?
Right.
So is there any other, anything you else want to share?
Not offhand. I'm sweating now, I'm sweating my head off, so I'll go upstairs for a while.
Alright.
I was in a radio and message center company.
Mm-hmm.
In the 51st Signal Battalion. And we were stationed in Korea, about 25 miles south of the DMZ.
Mm-hmm.
That's the demilitarized zone. And we used to have to I was a cryptographic specialist. So encoding and decoding messages. So when we had a classified message that had to go to the units up at the front, we had to take it up in a Jeep,
Mm-hmm.
and there'd be a Jeep driver, and I'd ride along, get up there, I could look across the Yellow River and see those, we call them gooks.
Gooks, right.
Well, you see the North Koreans on the other side, but by the time I got there, the truce had been signed.
Yeah.
So they, on the other side there, they waved back.
Right.
They weren't belligerent.
Mm-hmm.
They were glad the war was over too.
All right. Same defend, same way.
Yeah.
And no trouble at all we didn't have there. Nobody gave us a hard time at all.
That's good.
We did carry our guns with us.
Mm-hmm.
I had a carbine for a while, a carbine and an M1 rifle. And that's when they gave me a 45 pistol, because I was a corporal.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
but I never used a gun for anything, no reason.
Did you get to Japan?
Oh yeah, 11 months.
How many times?
Huh?
How many times did you get to go to Japan? On R&R?
What do you mean? R&R? One time.
Yeah, I got to go to Japan twice.
Right, one time.
Mm-hmm.
Twice on R&R.
R&R, we went to a place where we got nice beds, you know.
Yeah.
It was like a whole bad fancy hotel. That felt real good. For about 2-3 days, wasn't it?
And
2-3 days.
oh, I think I don't know. I thought it
I
was
lost track too.
5 or 6 days, but
Okay,
I suppose it varied according to
right.
the time.
Mm-hmm.
And the Japanese people were very friendly toward us, even though we had defeated them in war
Right,
only 8 years earlier,
Uh-huh.
45,
right.
50, this is a 53, but they, ordinary people didn't hold it against us,
Mm-hmm.
Because they knew we weren't there then anyway. We were too young. But, Japanese people are very, and the Korean people too, were very, very nice to us guys.
Mm-hmm.
Any more questions?
No, that's it.
Okay, then I'll try to go third.
Mhm.
I'm sweating my head off.
Thank you for your time.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you for your service too.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.